Farnesina election and Bonito split. So, as we stand here now, surrounded by the force of art, let us remember the power of culture to unite, inspire, and transform. Let us embrace the grand intended vision of the Farnesina collection and reaffirm our commitment to the ideas of peace, cooperation, and cultural exchange. Thank you, Bonito, for sharing your words with the international community, and thank you for allowing me to be your partner in this venture. And buona serata a tutti. A very warm good evening.
Thank you, USG Cara. Now invite Professor Fabio Finotti, Director of the Italian Cultural Institute of New York, to take the floor.
We should impose some sanctions on his drinking Italian wine.
The exhibition we are inaugurating today marks an important step in shaping the relationship between Italy and the international context. And it's truly significant that it is hosted at the United Nations building. Culture is not an ornament, but the substance of a nation and of a civilization. And thanks to the visionary minds we have, like the mind of Ambassador Vattani, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, has adopted art and culture as one of the fundamental languages of diplomacy. But the exhibition, I would say, is also of an important sign of the ways in which diplomacy is moving from dialogue between nations to the dialogue between civilizations. In this sense, we could say that it is the perfect embodiment of the spirit that led to the creation of the United Nations Alliance of Civilization within the United Nations. We cannot imagine a better place to reiterate the fact that Italian languages of art are built to dialogue, welcome, hybridize diverse people and cultures, and at the same time to remain faithful to their history. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Finotti. I now leave the floor to Ambassador Vattani, without whom tonight's event would have not been possible.
May I ask you kindly to come closer, because I'll show a few slides. And I feel so isolated here. Well, it's wonderful to be here. Let me say, I did not imagine that there would be so many people attending. I would like to thank Ambassador Maurizio Massari for having organized this and found this beautiful occasion. But I would also like to sing the praises of Achille Oliva, one of the most extraordinary architects known the world over. And thanks to him, we have here a dream team of people working with him, and we've set up this wonderful exhibition. I'm often asked the question, how come? For what purpose? For what reason did the Foreign Ministry make and organize itself with this fantastic collection? And I'll try to answer the question with the help of a few slides. You see, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Well, I think I need some help. Good.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, before we arrived to the Farnesina, this is the building where the ministry was housed until 1960. It's a beautiful Renaissance and Baroque building built at the end of the 16th century. In the middle of the city, you can see there is a banner by Millennium Color in front of it. And I will show you the lavish interiors. rich with gold, stuccos, lampreys, and gilded frames. Had we stayed there, the collection would have never seen the day. But in 1960, we were moved. We had to go, you see, from the historical city with the walls to the other side of the Taiwan, in a place which was quite different. This palace, you see, in very different surroundings, buildings which were made in the first half of the century. Now, for diplomats, this was a dire day, and they felt very disappointed to find themselves in a new palazzo. Huge. Can you imagine? 170 meters long, 130 meters wide, 7th floor. And in this palace, they felt they were isolated, away from the centers of power. And therefore, this big building became the new Palazzo Farnesina, where the diplomats had to work. Now, if you enter this building, you find monumental architecture, huge spaces, a grand honor staircase, something which visitors may not help but think back to the Ventennio, to the 20 years of fascist rule. And so, at a certain point, after 40 years, that the building had remained basic and simple, with the Italian Foreign Minister Dini, we decided to change the overall image and to create a new narrative. How did we do that? Because there was only one way, with works of art. And I had some experience because in time, during my periods abroad, I had been working with Italian artists to create in public spaces areas where we would be able to promote Italian art. This is a fountain in London, in Mayfair, very close to the Italian embassy. The President of the Republic, to whom I suggested we donate an Italian fountain in London, found the idea very bizarre, but he didn't oppose it. And so this fountain that the British call the Italian fountain is still there. Now, a few years later, for the 40th anniversary of the Marshall Plan, we decided that we should show a token of gratitude to our American friends for the help provided in the post-war period. And so I suggested to the Prime Minister to take a little gift, a small gift, to Los Angeles, where we had meetings with President Reagan. This is called We Beat, and in the city of Angeles, it's very appropriate. It's by American. This again, the solar disc, was given to Gorbachev in recognition of his policy of détente between East and West in 1989. This is a very important sculpture by Marino, which stands and greets visitors who go to the German parliament, to the Bundestag. I was in Germany, that was my assignment there, and I thought that it would be proper to show that after the war, Germany and Europe was rising again. It's a beautiful horse. This you know very well. It's just around the corner. We placed this in 1997, and it was a very special occasion. We had just signed the Statute of Rome for the International Criminal Court, and we wanted to show that Italy's contribution had been particularly important. And so this, you see the complex, the many layers of complexity that characterize this work, which is 40 meters in diameter, and it sits there. I'm very, very pleased. And these two last ones I placed in Brussels at the European Parliament. So you see, I told the minister, if we've been able to do this abroad in different cities, why shouldn't we do something here for the foreign ministry? And so we brought in, you see how it was, bare, nothing on the walls, marble huge areas and spaces. We said, we should bring in works of art. contemporary artist. And this will change the image. You see, this is how it looked, and this is how it looks now. You see, with works all over. This is the first piece by Pietro Gonzaga, which arrived. It's like a total, triggering the transition between the previous phase and the new phase. All these works you will find. Some of them are here on the first floor, all the floors, because before long the works became so numerous that we had to go up to the second, third, fourth, all the floors of the building. And the impact was impressive. To foreign delegations, the spectacle, astounding spectacle of Italian contemporary art meant that we really had a tremendous consequence on the architecture of the building. And indeed, as you will see by Sironi and others, all works of the 20th century followed and gave a very vivid impression of how things were moving. This is a famous table by Michelangelo Pistoletto. There is an art critic here, Alicia, who recently introduced an exhibition by this, and you have the Etruscan pictures by the same artist. Now, articles spread immediately in the press. 25 years ago, there was not the same amount of awareness on contemporary art. And so it was obvious that we were going to receive requests from artists, students, scholars, professors to come and visit this. And can you imagine a ministry which is generally surrounded by secrecy and confidentiality to be receiving guests from the outside to visit this? We did this, we were trailblazers, because at the time there were no museums of contemporary art of great magnitude in Italy. They came afterwards in Milan, in Rome, in Naples, and elsewhere. And Achille Bonito was fundamental in really bringing about this new wave of interest for Italian contemporary art. Many of the artists here are his friends, and he has created a movement called the Transavanguardia. But now, let me say, I wanted to give you a much, to show you a tribute for what you do here. I'm very impressed with the activity of the United Nations. I believe whether you come from countries near or far, big or small, you really work for a better world. And therefore I thought that I might show you something as a new little surprise. What I'm going to show you is not far away from here. It's at the Metropolitan Museum. This is a painting by a famous Italian artist called Giovanni Paolo Bannini, who painted this in the mid-18th century. What does it show? It shows Rhodes in the Roman period. You will recognize the Pantheon, the Colosseum, the Arch of Constantine, and so forth. And who is in the picture? You see, it's the Abbé de Choiseul, who is a French cardinal, showing to the young people from France, from Germany, from Britain, who are in Italy for the Grand Tour, what are the treasures of classical Rome. But he wanted them, the same people, to see contemporary Rome. For him, Baroque was contemporary. It was only a few decades before. And so he painted and he showed them. The French ambassador is there, together with some other young people. And you recognize the Fontana di Trevi that you all know, Santa Maria Maggiore, St. Peter's Square, the Bernini fountains in Via Pazzarone, and you will recognize also the Moses from Michelangelo and David from Bernini. So this was contemporary. And so when I came here, and I knew, thanks to Ambassador Massari, that I was going to show you something, I said, I cannot paint. I will never be able to do something as impressive as what Bernini did. But I use photographs, and I did this. And this is contemporary. Same thing that Bernini is showing to these people is simply a setup of different photographs where you can see the foreign ministry is there. Because the point of the budget, of the collection, and of this new area of Rome that we're working on, it's called the District of the Contemporary, is something which begins there in the Foreign Ministry. And somehow, and I end up with this word, with these words, I would like to say that somehow the Foreign Ministry tells the story of Italy today. A lovely, multifaceted country, rich in diverse voices, projecting towards the future, where nothing stands still and everything is in movement. And I would like to say that please consider the works of Achille as a standing invitation from Ambassador Maurizio Massari, from Achille Bonito Oliva, from all of us who work here in New York. I recognize the people, the friends, the director of the Italian Cultural Institute, who has given such a tremendous boost to Italian cultural activity in New York. And I see also my friends from the for the General Consulate of Italy. So do consider this, the works which are here, as speaking to you and giving you a standing invitation to come to Italy and discover the new. Thank you very much. I will see you at the
Thank you, Ambassador. And now the floor goes to art critic and historian Achille Bonito.
Grande visione italiana. Partiamo dal titolo.
Let's start with the title, The Grand Italian Vision.
Grande visione italiana per quantità e qualità. 71 artisti selezionati, più Francesco Clemente che ha dato quest'opera in omaggio alla Farnesina, che denota anche come questa collezione ha un suo valore culturale e non solo diplomatico.
So the Grand Italian Vision, for its quantity, for the amount of artworks you're visiting, you can visit, and the quality that speak to the value of this collection. I want to mention Francesco Clemente's piece of work that is here tonight and he donated to the collection, and that speaks to the huge value of this project.
Sì, e per quantità dicevo, sono, come dire, in qualche modo selezionati all'interno vari movimenti, dal futurismo fino alla transavanguardia, l'arte povera, l'informale, la nuova figurazione, insomma un secolo di arte italiana che però è connotato da valori che si ripetono.
So quantity, I was saying, because this collection spans 1 century of Italian art and encompasses several movements from futurism to arte povera to the grand avanguardia. So it's a large collection of great value.
Sì, e dicevo, è dal Rinascimento, dal Cinquecento, che l'arte italiana è connotata da caratteri che nel tempo si sono rafforzati e sono stati sempre celebrati.
And since the Renaissance, the 1600s, Italian art has been characterized by recurrent values and principles that all the movements share.
I valori che sono celebrati in questa mostra sono il nomadismo culturale e l'eclettismo stilistico.
So the values that this collection and exhibit celebrates are the eclecticism and the cultural nomadism.
E in qualche modo c'è un valore centrale paradossale, quello di, come si può dire, valorizzare la memoria.
At its core, there is a paradox, which is enhancing memory.
E in qualche modo è dal Rinascimento che questo comincia. Pensate che gli artisti rinascimentali si rifanno alla classicità, si rifanno all'arte greca, all'arte romana, quindi c'è una continuità del tempo che moltiplica il valore di queste opere.
And this has always been, let's say, a trademark of Italian culture and art. Let's think of the Renaissance, when artists were arcing back to Roman and Greek sculptures and works of art. And this is like a fil rouge that runs through Italian art.
E in fondo, se dobbiamo trovare una definizione di questa esposizione, è l'affermazione di Leonardo da Vinci, che disse: l'arte è cosa mentale.
If we want to find a label, a slogan that sums up the spirit of this exhibit, we should quote Leonardo da Vinci, who once said, art is a mental thing.
L'arte italiana ha sempre quindi costantemente un'applicazione, una ricerca, un'affermazione mentale che si ripercuote fino all'attualità.
So the Italian art is constantly focused on a quest, on the quest of a mental value that is rooted in the past, in the memory.
Nomadismo culturale e eclettismo stilistico sono due valori che nel tempo si sono sempre più confermati come quelli portanti dell'arte italiana.
Cultural nomadism and stylistic eclecticism come back ever and ever again, and they confirm themselves as pillars of art, of Italian art throughout time.
C'è una confluenza di figurazione e astrazione, manualità pittorica e diciamo definizione mentale.
So there is like a convergence between figuratism and the abstract, between stylistic and painting craftism, all in once, converging in one expression.
Quello che è interessante è proprio la costante conferma di questo valore centrale dell'arte italiana.
What is so striking and interesting is the coming back, the recurrent signature trait of the Italian art that comes back over time, over and over again.
E in qualche modo ci sono i movimenti che si susseguono dal futurismo alla transavanguardia che confermano la costanza del pensiero creativo dell'arte italiana.
And so throughout all the movements that have emerged, that have shapen up through time, always the mental thing, this memory and mental crafting of creativity comes back over and over again.
Quindi da Puccioni a Clemente, da Murri a Fontana. Beh! Oh! Asiatico. Sì, sì. Va bene. Insomma ragazzi, la mostra è molto bella. Visitatela e troverete un nutrimento anche, oltre che mentale, anche c'è un edonismo nell'arte italiana, un senso del gioco, un antidogmatismo. Ma perché parlano? Ehi, silenzio! Io chiudo il museo. No, teniamolo bene. Insomma, visitatela, vale la pena. Potete vedere che già qui c'è una sintesi da Clemente alla Piccolo a Paolini, c'è lì dietro Puccioni e c'è anche Bocchetti. Insomma, è un ventaglio iconografico che conferma che l'arte italiana, oppure potremmo dire che il lavoro italiano è creare. Siamo un popolo creativo.
So enjoy this beautiful exhibit, and I really hope you can grasp the core message, which is the search for pleasure that is at the core of Italian art. From all the artists that you will see here, you can get this sense of creativity at work, which is not just a trademark of Italian art, but also Italian way of living.
Insomma, voglio dire alla fine che solo in Italia è possibile accompagnare la diplomazia con l'arte. E devo dire che purtroppo è merito di Vartani. Del suo ufficio per selezionare gli artisti. Io adesso sto raccogliendo i frutti perché sono napoletano e sono un fruttatore, ma ritengo che la collezione ha una valenza internazionale e potrebbe veramente abitare l'ONU costantemente. Grazie, buon Natale. Ah no, forse è troppo. Grazie.
Only Italy could find the skills to match diplomacy and art. And I have to recognize that unfortunately it's Ambassador Vattani's merit to have been able to build such a great collection. I'm only taking advantage of his work. Enjoy the exhibit. And now, yes, part of the exhibit is here. Take your time enjoying all the works of art, but soon you can be escorted by our interns that are here to visit the second part and also enjoy some refreshments. What else? Do I have any logistical? Yes, the ribbon cutting ceremony will take place at the curved wall. Please join us